Let Daddy decide.
Look, when I sign autographs for your children next weekend, because my 3 biggest fans are coming to town to get my autograph on Saturday, I will personalize it. It is not can you dig it? It is not let Daddy decide. Get it right. Love, Charles. So that's how do I, right? That's the how do I, or is what
It is how do I.
So all right from the last one. We talked about balance. To me, this is important. It's a hard thing to teach. It
Have
is
a nerdy day.
That's good. How do you find, and Kurt, man, you're reeling this now with work and the grandkids and fit guy day 867,453, whatever it is. This work-life balance. Actually, I don't remember if I wrote it this way or somebody else did, but the work, family, and hobby. What is Kurt time? What is you time?
It's hard. Literally, right now, the gym time is kind of my Kurt time. So I guess technically you could possibly count that as hobby, but it's really where can I not worry about anything but me?
Yeah.
Is kind of what it is.
And is that the smallest part of your time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. But because of the regimen that I'm on right now in terms of like my workout schedule and whatnot, ironically, I get more of it than I typically did. It's good. Now other hobbies suffer, but it's okay. It's okay. Right now it's worth it. And right now I feel more balanced. And so that's really all that matters. The work family thing is weird because I work from home. And I know I've talked about this before.
But you haven't always. I mean, you just actually talked about having to work and barely get home to sleep and go back to work.
Right. So working at home, the difference is nowadays my wife is disabled. So I have to intermingle helping her during the day while I'm working. And so that, and she's unable to do some of the things that she was doing when we were younger and coming up. So I'm doing all the laundry and the grocery shopping and the meal prep and all of that on top of everything else. So it's really work is job one, family is job two, voiceover side hustle is job three, and then I've got my workout stuff. So it's busy, to be certain. Oh yeah, and I have music in there too, because that is one of my other hobbies. So I'm making it work.
How do you balance that? So I think
So part of
similar stories and similar answers.
So part of it for me is in a weird way, my wife goes to bed early now because she fatigues easy, and so she goes to bed early. And so when she goes to bed is when I have time to do stuff. And so that's when I work on my music, and that's when I go to the gym, usually in the evenings after she goes to bed. That's when we're recording this podcast. Like part of the reason I was late was I was putting her to bed.
I know.
So it's a hard balance. But that's just the life I'm in. I mean, I unless I want to do nothing else. And so that's not an option, because if I do just work and family, I will go crazy. Like there's no release valve, right? And so what we do try to do though is on the weekends, because I don't work a full-time job on the weekends. Once I'm done the grocery shopping and the cooking and all that stuff and the laundry, then I spend time with my wife and we hang out. And if there's a music thing that I'm performing in or whatever, she'll come to the shows and
nice.
and and we go on vacation together and things like that. So we do try to balance things out. It's not always easy. It's there have been times where it's like she's in the same house and I barely see her is what it feels like. But
Sure.
But she gets it. She gets it. But I do try to make specific time for her. Like, I mean, tomorrow for other reasons, I'm taking the day off, but I plan on spending a bunch of it with her, just hanging out.
So I hear a lot of things. I'm going to sum up, I think, to get to the how. But Joe, how do you find your balance? You got two kids and one awesome dude in your house. The littlest one. The littlest
He's
one's
talking
awesome
about the
dude.
4-year-old is the awesome dude, not me.
Favorite.
Just as
I'm
ever
his
was.
favorite. We're good.
It is definitely a struggle. Being home, I do get to see them every now and again throughout the day. But with my new team, I'm in meetings all the time, it feels like. And so really I pop up, say hey while grabbing my lunch and talk to them a little bit, but during the day I don't get to see them a whole lot. Now if there's like some kind of an emergency, even if I'm in a meeting, I'll be like, hey, I gotta step out for a few minutes. So my one kid's trying to kill the other kid or something. But it is some days I feel like I've got it super balanced, and other days it feels like the sand is just slipping through my fingers. And I guess all in all, I don't know if I have it really balanced. Not really,
Well, hey, okay, good that you feel that way, because it means you're going to keep always looking for ways to achieve balance. I hope that's what it means anyway. But I would say you do, because you and Kurt do some, not fully, but here's why. You and Kurt have some similar things, and they're called boundaries. You make sure work is here at work, and during that time, that's the boundary. Your family's up there because you both work from home, but you go work time's work time. Family time. If anytime I go, hey Joe, do you wanna? The answer is always, let me talk to the wife. Every last time. Hey Joe, can we do something? Let me talk to, because that's a boundary, right? You want to make sure that you're respecting the together time and what's needed time. You have some religious time, you set that apart. You blatantly skip, which I love. You blatantly skip the volunteer meetings that Scott schedules on Sunday morning, because he truly forgets you go to church every single time, even though you tell him every single time. Bless his heart. But what does Joe time look like? Because even though this is fun for all of us, we love doing this, it's still a little bit of work, right? So what is just Joe time?
Like a chunk.
Sorry.
I don't really have just Joe time. So like when I come up from work, I'm helping get dinner ready, get the kids to bed, and then afterwards I'm spending time with my wife. I guess the closest thing I have is on the weekend I'll be playing Minecraft with my kids, but even then again, that's with my kids. And so I
look good. I got a point to that.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of alone time, as it were.
Look, I'm gonna say first, you do have to find that, man. That is part of the balance. And I'm gonna talk about little things I do and how you remove guilt for doing it. But you need that. But secondly, it doesn't have to be alone time to be Joe time. Joe time is that I'm not having to put out, right? I'm getting energy back. I'm resting. I'm just, at least in my head, just being me, not even zoning out, if you will, not even worrying about it. So my wife hates almost all alone time. She gets bored. She doesn't like doing that. Her time, her recharge time is going out with the kids. So like your Minecraft with your children. For her, that would be errand time. She loves that. Now, which is when everybody's just buzzing around the house and they're not going to do an adventure, then it's like, get out of my face. That's that take time. But the give time is when we do things together. For her. For me, I love my creating. And every Saturday morning, I have a habit like a job. My work is, I'm on salary. I run the company. I'm on 24/7, but I'm not. Right. I try to have people and processes in place where I don't have to do that. But if you call me, I will answer. I will take care of it. I'll answer texts. But I turn that volume way down come Friday afternoon. And I try to keep it at a minimum. I try to even ask myself, do I need to deal with this right now or can it wait till Monday? Right. But my Saturdays, for most part, I come out here. I edit the audio for this show. I take Joe's well-crafted AI notes and we arrange the polishing for everything. And then I either go to work by talking to Dennis about like and subscribe and recording, or editing podcasts, or doing something finding stories, which I love. That's still me time, but it's work. Sometimes, and I have to force myself to do this. I have to force myself to go, this is an appropriate time. I go and sit and play my Xbox. And knowing here, man, I could be doing another Finding the Stories episode. I could be refining my media. I could be doing this policy for work that I just didn't get done on Friday. But guilt is a key word I wanted to put out there. I removed the guilt by going, this is just as important as sleeping, eating, making sure I do spend the time with my family in the individual and togetherness ways, and focusing on work. And yeah, like you were saying, and Kurt, you went through this with the gaming industry. That when I take over a company, and I realized just how arrogant that sounded, but that's just the way it happened. We bought a company. I took it over. I don't know what to tell you. Get off my chops, man. Joe, you started off with that Tennessee accent at the beginning. Look at Joe. I've just thrown myself so far off on this one.
No, keep going. I'm sure it'll end up great.
My train always goes through the meadows and finds another track and gets on it. We're good. My point is, you have to exactly, Mike.
That's quite the point.
But without guilt, right? And you need to work without guilt. When I take over a company, I know that's where I derail myself. It'll go anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks of I'm gone for maybe 4 or 5 days at a time. When I'm home, I'm sleeping 3 or 4 hours. I'm in after everybody goes to sleep, and I'm up before they get up, and I'm out. I might not see my family for a week. And the focus has to be, don't you think, I'm going to throw this because yes, don't you think the focus has to be on the time frame? This is not forever. This is now. And even if you have to say, I don't know, but in 4 weeks, I have to, okay, that's a good question. In 4 weeks, I have to revisit and see what the time frame is. Whatever you have to do, you got to put time frames on it. Otherwise, I think that's the problem with the gaming industry, Kurt. It's crunch time. Woo! All right, everybody. We published a game. All right, we just started another game. So now that's just going to start ramping up for the next 24 months on you.
Yeah. So, video game industry aside, because it's almost a different beast. I think, Joe, one of the things that occurred to me was I was thinking back to when I was your age with young kids. Having young kids makes all the difference in the world in terms of the ability to have me time. It really does. And one of the things that I may have mentioned this before, but when my kids were young, and we had to do a cross country move, I asked them what their concerns were. Because they would be switching schools, and there was a big upheaval in their lives. And my daughter, who was 6 at the time, I think, said, "Are you still going to be able to have dinner with us?" That was her main concern. So, to me, if that's what she's worried about, then I can make sure I have dinner. And so that's the level of thing that I think that, Joe, you're probably, I'm not going to say struggling with, because I don't really know your life, but those are the kinds of things that you're dealing with now. You're dealing with the kids stuff. And it does get different when the kids are teenagers and they start having their own lives. And so you might have the kid saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be home until 5:00, or can you pick me up at 5:00?" Whatever. And you go, "Oh, I can breathe for a second," because they're doing their own thing. But the young kid thing, that's just the point of your life that you're in. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and that comes with the territory. You had kids. That's one of the things you got to do.
Well, and we talked about it last week. At least I think it was last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about feeling like a good dad. And there are times, more often than not, where I am done with work. I'm getting ready for dinner, and then it's bedtime, and I really only get 2-3 hours maybe with the kids at night before they're in bed. And so I mean, everyone has the same number of hours in the day. There are times when I feel like I'm just not utilizing my hours good enough, but I don't see how I could fit more into it at the same time.
Okay, so I was going to say I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do. Don't at all underestimate the quality of the time that you have with the kids during that couple of hours, because that's the stuff that they will remember. And whether they even realize it or not, whether you realize it's important to them or not, because they'll go, "Yeah, I remember, like, Dad always used to like read to us right before we went to bed, and like every night, like we just read books all the time." And they find value in that, whether you realize it or not. It might just be, well, this is just the routine that we do, whatever. But don't underestimate the value of that quality time. And quality time is such a catchphrase, but it matters.
But it's the truth.
It matters.
Yes.
Yeah. So the fact that you're even doubting probably indicates that you're a better dad than you think.
And also, I'm with Kurt, but for a different reason. Yes, and reason. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Remove the guilt. You got to remove the doubt. You got to know and believe this time matters, and that makes it matter. Your kids will never remember the bad times as much as you think they do. We literally went through a bankruptcy during Christmas. It was a super tough time in our life. We didn't do any Christmas other than we spent the $200 or to the $300. It was not a super large amount. Because a friend of ours actually came in knowing how much is important to us, and we were going to skip it. He gave us $200 to go, and then we had like $200 to do extra with there. And my wife's like, "Man, but shouldn't we put this on bills?" I went, "No, the bills will be the bills will be the bills. That won't matter. No, we don't buy the kids Christmas presents," and they will not go, "Remember that Christmas we didn't get presents," but they will absolutely go, "Man, you remember how bad that bankruptcy time was because we couldn't even go to Stone Mountain as a family tradition like we've always done." And sure enough, I asked them, "Hey, do y'all remember what year all the bad stuff happened?" They can't place it. They have zero clue. But just the other day, the last time that my wife took the kids to Pawleys Island is a family thing like you do, Joe. Y'all go to your beach or whatever. It's kind of like that kind of family thing. And the last time it ever happened, she took the kids, and there's a reason I didn't go. But they are still talking about, they don't remember it was Pawleys Island. They remember, oh, Mom took this extra time to do this thing. And they just say, "Hey, you remember this? Remember did this?" Just randomly. And my wife, she just leaves over and goes, "No regrets." So yeah, and I'm with you, Kurt. The fact that you question, is it quality? It matters. But ultimately, all you can do is all you can do. Now, I want to wrap this out because we got some cool stuff to talk about. But random kid asks, "Do you recharge at conventions?" I went ahead and put that also in the topic. So 2 topics for me tonight went to the next time of what do you think about? Because it just made me think about the different things that we do recharge when we have alone time, when we have family time, when we, all these different things. So I thought it'd be another big topic. So thank you, random kid, and we're gonna definitely talk about that one.
I don't recharge it at Dragon Con.